Ethan Van Sciver owns the trademark to Comicsgate and has for a very long time. Thank you, Ethan. Hello, this is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be talking about the Comicsgate trademark. Ethan Van Sciver has acquired the Comicsgate trademark that is actively registered right now from Antonio Malpica. Antonio Critias, he registered this back in 2018. And now Ethan owns it. This is the Comicsgate 2 words trademark. In addition to that, Ethan has gone ahead and registered Comicsgate 1 word trademark for entertainment services and for public information campaigns surrounding Comicsgate. Now, both of these are separate applications. One, Antonio's, has already gone through the registration processes and fully registered. Now, Ethan owns it. In addition to that, the new mark that he is registered for, I believe, is going to be the more important mark as we go forward in this process. And Ethan is promising to protect the Comicsgate trademark from malicious actors who we've seen appear in this community, and I believe want to use it to deplatform Comicsgate creators, not only Ethan, but everyone else as well, as we shall see here. But first, I wanted to let you listen to what Ethan had to say himself on his Comicsgate Live program on April 18th. Take a listen to this.
I have the Comicsgate trademark now. I didn't really say anything much about that, but I have it. And hooray.
Yeah.
You know, I have it because, just so that people know, I have it because there were some people who, with ill intent, who didn't like Comicsgate, who were trying to spite trademark the term Comicsgate in order to hurt people with it. And a few attorneys reached out to me and said, if there is one person who has the legitimate common law trademark. Cecil, for 1 second.
I was trying to get the trademark. I wanted
Let me finish this,
I wanted
please.
it so bad. I wanted a trademark. Now all I have is a skid mark.
So, in any case, there was somebody who, they said there's one person who does own the common law trademark for Comicsgate. And that's just a simple thing. I didn't mean to do it, but I was doing a show called Comicsgate Live and receiving super chats since June of 2018, which means that in the eyes of the law, I have the common law trademark for Comicsgate because I was the first not the first person to think of it. I didn't invent the word Comicsgate, the hashtag, anything like that. But when it comes to being able to trademark the term in use of commerce and business, it's me. And as you can see on this side of my hat, it says Comicsgate. So that's another way that I have monetized the term. So I have trademarked it, and now it belongs to me in the eyes of the law. But on the other hand, the only reason why I did it, and I want to make this clear, I don't fucking want it. If I wanted it, I would have done this 3 years ago.
With
I
great
don't
power
want it.
comes great responsibility, Ethan.
Okay, yeah, I'm not looking for it. I really don't think there's anything in it for me except to do one thing, and just to make sure that everybody is allowed to use it without discrimination or without people being bullied over it, without somebody having it and misusing it and mistreating people, gatekeeping people. That was my one, and it isn't even really. I don't want to do any. I got all caps comics. I got Cyber Frog. But Comicsgate is important to me. It's important to everybody who's here, most likely. So Comicsgate is trademarked, and feel free. As long as you abide by the principles and rules, the standards that we all kind of understand Comicsgate is, there's going to be no problem. If you want to publish child pornography under the Comicsgate banner, that's going to be a problem. Or anything like that, and in that instance, I will come down and exercise my trademark and protect the trademark. But other than that, if you are a creative person who wants to do something called Comicsgate Comics, and you want to do comics that are for the customers and are fun and cool, great. There's going to be absolutely no problem at all. It belongs to everybody, but I guess I'm going to steward it. Okay, so I hope people understand. If you have a problem with that, I completely understand. But I want you to understand that I don't want this responsibility. I wasn't looking for it. It just happens to be something that I think I have to do.
So there you have it. Ethan feels obligated to the Comicsgate community. He feels like he has to do it. And the reason I think that is because, according to Scott Hudeman, I hired Scott Hudeman earlier this year to basically fend off Preston Poulter's trademark claims and to find a way to protect the Comicsgate.org website. And in that process, Mr. Hudeman looked at who had the superior rights to the Comicsgate trademark, and everything pointed to Ethan as being the person who had the most right to it, the very first person to use it in commerce. And so what I had Scott do was prepare a letter for public distribution and for Ethan so that he could understand what is involved with Comicsgate and the trademark and what his rights were to do with it. And his Comicsgate Live channel on YouTube as early as July of 2018, as well as hashtagging with it and crowdfunding on Twitter and collecting super chats on the YouTube channel, all constitute this form of commerce that was in place for Comicsgate at the time. And at the same time, in 2018, Vox Day wanted to do a Comicsgate imprint in September of 2018, and that's what prompted Ethan to say he had the common law trademark. At the same time, Antonio Malpica, Critias, he went ahead and he registered Comicsgate, 2 words, and he had it registered. He went all the way through the process, but now it's in a cancellation proceeding, and this is the actual registration. I blacked out Antonio's home address there, but this is the Comicsgate trademark as it is actively registered as of July 14th, 2020. And basically, this is in place right now, and now Ethan has acquired it. In addition to that, Ethan has went ahead and fulfilled another trademark application on April 15th, and this is a service mark. You can see here Ethan Van Sciver. You can see here Scott Hudeman is the attorney, the same guy I hired to write this letter. Ethan hired him, full disclosure there. And I just wanted to walk you through the application here because I think it's really important, and everyone was going to want to know what is the Comicsgate trademark that Ethan is applying for as opposed to Antonio's Comicsgate trademark registration, which is for comics. This trademark is actually for entertainment, providing an online forum for social commentary and criticism among computer users, in particular comic book creators and their fans, streaming of video material on the internet, electronic transmission and streaming of digital media content for others via global and local computer networks, and transmission of podcasts. That was International Class 038. And the next one, 041, is entertainment services, namely providing video podcasts in the field of comics and the comic book industry. Entertainment services, namely providing webcasts in the field of comics and the comic book industry, organizing, arranging, and conducting virtual telethons and crowdfunding events, organizing, arranging, and conducting online and live comics and comic book related events, providing information and news in the field of current events relating to comics and the comic book industry, providing online non-downloadable comics, providing online non-downloadable electronic publications in the nature of online videos, website, and posts on social media platforms in the field of comics and the comic book industry, providing online non-downloadable videos in the field of comics and the comic book industry, provision of information in the field of leisure activities, namely comics and comic books, entertainment services, namely providing podcasts in the field of comics and comic books. Also 041, entertainment services, namely the provision of the continuing shows featuring comic and comic book creators delivered by the internet. And this is the application that was put in by Mr. Hudeman on behalf of Ethan. That's his attorney now. Congratulations to Scott and to Ethan for going ahead with this. I wanted to give you this information so you can kind of see what the nature of the trademark rights are and why it had to be Ethan. Like, why couldn't somebody else do this? Why is Antonio's application not doing too well? Well, to be honest with you, Antonio has the registration, and that part would have been very strong, except Detective Dead has never fulfilled. He doesn't have his product in commerce right now, it's going to probably hurt him in the cancellation proceeding. It may not even be possible to rescue this mark, this Comicsgate trademark that was registered on July 14, 2020, in the cancellation proceeding. And that's why this other application is now in effect, and I believe is going to supersede whatever happens in the cancellation process. I think Critias, he did what he could to keep this thing going for as long as he did. It started to go into cancellation last year. Then he revived the application as Preston Poulter was trying to go ahead with his own application. And Critias fended Preston Poulter off for almost a year now, and prevented Preston from getting the Comicsgate trademark on the Federal Registrar. Preston tried to buy the Comicsgate trademark from Critias, and Critias said no. And then Critias filed a letter of protest against Preston in 2020, and it went into cancellation. Preston's did. And then Preston also did another trademark application for a certification mark, which basically is also being refused by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, which I believe is a good thing. He has no right to it, and I believe he wants to deplatform creators in Comicsgate and elsewhere. If you look back in May 6th of 2020, when I was launching the alpha version of Comicsgate.org, I put it out there. Vicky wanted to say, hey, you'll be promoting Comics Jack's universe of books for him. That's so sweet of you. And I said, well, if Preston withdraws his trademark application without precondition, and I can verify it in the USPTO database before it ever gets to the examining attorney, I'll consider adding him. Otherwise, y'all can go F yourselves. Now, I probably came in a little too hot there. Admittedly, I wish I hadn't phrased it that way. I should have been nicer to Preston. But he kind of confirmed my fears here when he said, you might want to get ready to change your website. Now, was it just because I was a jerk? That's why he's threatening to deplatform me? Even if I was a jerk, is that any reason to deplatform me because I have a website called Comicsgate? Well, DA Talks has compiled a lot of information. Also, thank you to Anthony from Dark Gift for helping me get my hands on this. There's a number of discords with Preston in it where he's announcing his intention to deplatform creators. Here's Preston stating, Antonio claimed to the USPTO he had used the mark in commerce, which gives him a legal claim, but he never put out a book, so his claim fails by law. Cheech asks, does that give you the right to copyright strike any video with Comicsgate in the title? Why, yes, Preston replies. You could become a king grifter. Oh, there will be a reign of terror on YouTube and Twitter, Preston promises. So it wasn't just me he was threatening with the trademark. It's YouTube creators who are using Comicsgate in their YouTube videos and their channels. Here's another one. Preston posts a tweet from Lovecrest SK. DA whispers, Comics Jacks, for example, my own videos using the word are not as a means of association or self-promotion. Attempting to strike would be fraudulent as I'm effectively just reporting something. Were I to use it the other way, he's technically free to strike because I'd be damaging his trademark, to which Preston replies, I'm glad to see people are starting to worry about my future deplatforming of CG YouTubers. In addition to that, Preston states that his lawsuit is all about suing to get Antonio's trademark canceled. Cheech says that's smart, actually. I don't think he has the grift to start a Kickstarter like Richard C. Meyer did. And Preston says, quote, I expect to prevail on that motion I posted in the next couple of months or so, after which I will be the USPTO recognized owner of the trademark to the term Comicsgate for comic books. It's not a matter of money, although Mr. Malpica's lack of resources does not help. He has no legal claim to the trademark. And so there you have it. Preston has been threatening to deplatform creators in Comicsgate, CG YouTubers. He wanted to take out my website as well, comicsgate.org, and I just wasn't going to have any of it. I've worked so hard on this website. I've identified over 200 creators who are putting out books, who are hashtagging Comicsgate on Twitter, and who have YouTube programs and have been a part of this movement longer than Preston has. Ethan started using this in commerce first. I think he has the best argument for Comicsgate as the trademark. I think that's why he's acquired the trademark from Antonio, and why, furthermore, he's moving ahead with a new application that I believe will supersede all of this. I think this is a very, very important issue to Comicsgate community. Ethan is saying, we can all use the Comicsgate. You have to uphold certain standards, of course. He's not going to just let anybody use it. But by and large, we have a good opportunity here, I think, to allow Comicsgate to live on as a brand longer than any of us are going to be alive, and that this can go on and on. It stinks that Antonio wasn't able to get his book out, but I think, he did what he could to keep this thing away from Preston. So, thank you. Also, thank you, Ethan, so much for going ahead and filing with this. You're in good hands with Scott Hudeman. I think Scott's done a terrific job with this letter, and I'm confident that he can give you the best opportunity to prevail in this proceeding. I mean, nothing's 100%, of course, with these applications and federal registrars. You're basically at the mercy of bureaucrats, but I believe Mr. Hudeman will give you the best possible opportunity to have your application prevail. And I really hope it does. I really hope this works out for the community. I hope this helps Comicsgate. I hope it doesn't hurt Comicsgate. And that's basically what I wanted to say. I wanted to let you know what was going on with this application. And, to say thank you to Ethan for going ahead and doing this. This is a really big responsibility, as Shane Davis was saying on the podcast. With great power comes great responsibility, from Stan Lee. And I think that this is something that probably needed to happen. Maybe it should have happened a few years ago, but in any event, it's happening now. And I think it's going to destroy Preston's application. Preston won't have much of a chance. Ethan started doing this in July of 2018. And as far as using it in commerce, when Preston went ahead and filed for it, he filed under intent to use, and then he went ahead and did a stupid certification mark which contradicted the other one. So he filed with intent to use. He knew that Antonio was using the mark already and that Ethan had used it before that, and then he told the trademark board that, I don't know anyone who's trying to do this. The reason to use intent to use is if you've got a new idea and you want to make sure nobody else uses that name before anyone else. But if you know somebody else is using that name already, you're not supposed to file intent to use. That's exactly what he did. And then when that mark was failing, then he went ahead and did a certification mark, which contradicts the first mark, as we shall see here. This was filed against Preston on July 6, 2020. USPTO must receive applicant's response. He has a refusal, same mark not registerable as a certification mark or any other type of marks. This is from the USPTO. They're refusing to give him the certification mark. Registration is refused because applicant is using or intends to use the same mark both as a certification mark and as a trademark or service mark for the goods and or services to which the certification mark applies. Trademark Act Sections 4 and 14, 15 U.S.C. 1054, 1064, 5B. The instant application identifies the applied for mark as a certification mark. However, applicant has used or is intending to use the same mark as a trademark or service mark for the goods and or services to which the certification mark applies. See attachment. Trademarks or service marks and certification marks are essentially mutually exclusive. You hear that, Preston? You probably read this since this was addressed to you. That is, a party may not own a registration for a certification mark and for a trademark or service mark for the goods and or services to which the certification mark applies. Moreover, a certification mark registration may be canceled if the registrant, quote, engages in the production or marketing of any goods or services to which the certification mark is applied. So you went in for intent to use, but you weren't supposed to do that because you knew that Antonio already had the mark or in the application process and that Ethan had used it previously, and then you went ahead for a certification mark when you had no right to do so because, in essence, the other mark was already in play. So I think both of your applications are dead, Preston. I think that you should just withdraw from the field. You're just wasting your own money at this point. You're not going to possibly ever get the Comicsgate trademark. Whether or not Ethan prevails in his applications and whether or not the Comicsgate 2 words trademark registration prevails, in the end, you're not going to get your application because you messed up your applications. And, that's terrible for you, but, I think it's good for Comicsgate. So that's the commentary. This is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and have a good night. Thank you, Ethan. This is a big pull for you. I really appreciate it. I think everyone else does, too. Take care.